We're going to start this project here is we're in my garage shop. Right now it's literally a garage. What we have right here is a project that I've kind of already started about a year ago. What this is the beginning of a spray booth. Hey, dog. See, dog. What I've kind of already did here is, since this is a garage and what's behind it is a window, obviously it's your typical garage with no drywall, just the studs. What I have in the window here is, here, let me just bring you up closer, take a closer look. Is what I got in here is one of those 2-foot round fans. You can literally, I mean, you got to understand the point of a spray booth. A spray booth is really just to pull the paint particles out. It's not really full blown for fumes. That's why they tell you to wear a respirator. But what the spray booth is good for is for your projects. You don't get overspray settling on your project, and just to get a lot of the particles out. Keep the airflow flowing. For like a little home project like this is not what I would use for a car. I would do something totally different, but what this one's going to be is for, like, mid-sized projects, maybe something that's like 6 foot, or like a piece of furniture, or one of the other projects we're going to do on the channel is maybe some scale modeling or guitar building or some really cool funky. But right now, for the beginning, is want to get a little area for paint going. And what I really just started last summer was I had just had this fan in the window. Knowing that I am building a spray booth, it was also good for sucking out the hot summer air, trying to keep some airflow going and keeping the garage a few degrees cooler. What you can't see here behind this hardboard is, in this window I have a piece of, maybe you can kind of see it where it's attached over there. It's basically MDF board, some cheap 5/8 stuff from Home Depot. You don't have to be that fancy. So what I did was cut it exactly to the same size of what this window is, and since it's just a rough cutout, didn't really have to be fancy or anything. I just cut the circle of it. I've actually kind of used some scrap pieces on the other side. Here, I'll show you. So what you see here is just some scrap pieces of wood that I put around there just to thicken where I'm attaching this, so I can use longer screws, so that way it support the weight a little bit better. This dog's got no pants. Because I put the scrap wood around it, so I can use thicker screws, help support the weight of this one fan. I also glued the scrap pieces and screwed them in, so it's pretty much anchored in there. Cut the hole, literally just leave me a little bit enough just to have what you can kind of see, hopefully you can see, are the screws that I anchored all the way around. For this type of fan, I just actually took the grate off first, just the front of it, and mount that in. Got it in there really good and solid, and then just put the fan right onto it and lock it in place. And then after that, just got some cheap hardboard, which is really inexpensive. Remember, this is not really for structural purposes. It's kind of a spray booth. It just needs barrier to contain overspray and all that paint. The hardboard, which is roughly about like $8 at Home Depot for an 8x4 sheet, 2 pieces right there. Very inexpensive. Just found a couple places just to screw it in from where the studs are available. I also made sure I had the power running out for the fan, and I also made sure I left it on its highest setting, because as of right now there is no access, because I also built this. When you're wondering what this enclosure is with the chicken wire, is where the filters are going to go. We use like 20-inch filters, which is also very affordable. You can do this in air conditioning filters. If you're going to go that way, I would recommend using the cheaper stuff and not like the hospital grade HEPA filters, because all that basically is more of a thicker filter, which makes it more harder for your fan to pull through. And remember, all you're really doing is catching the thicker particles. The fumes will go out no matter what, but you really want the thick particles. So way this is going to work is, what the chicken wire does is just going to allow me just to set the filters in it, What I haven't decided what to use is to keep them locked in. It's either I'll just have like a couple wire tabs because you just stick it right through, or I just may run wire all the way through it. And as for the sides go, I'll just take a single piece of the 20 by 20, cut in half. One piece will fit for two for the top and bottom. And this whole thing should just be able to suck it all in. But what we're going to be doing next is now we're going to start building the walls, the enclosure. And the plan for it is literally the same thing. Going to use 2 by 2 studs or strips, whatever you want to call them. More of the hardboard, literally 4 feet out. This is going to be 8 feet tall. We're going to have 4 feet this way, 4 feet up there, 4 feet this way, and we're going to have LED lights. One 4-foot strip here, one 4-foot strip there, one 4-foot strip there. So that way you have light going this way, and this way. Hopefully we'll paint the entire closure inside white, which is some cheap white. Remember, after all, you're gonna be painting in here. It's gonna get all kinds of colors eventually on it, so you don't have to go fancy for that either. But the reason why I want to paint all the insides white is just to help reflect the light a little bit better. Good lighting for your projects is very good. Shadows is something that can kill you in the long run, or you just want good lighting when you paint a project. So with that, let's get started. So I'm choosing my pieces of hardboard. Pretty much I'm kind of using the best of the best. Great thing about it, they're pretty cheap stuff, about $8-10 a sheet. You know, this whole thing doesn't have to be structurally sound, and I'm feeling pretty good about this. So you gotta pull out the saw just so you can see it. Pretty much picking and choosing the best straight boards as possible. They're actually 2 by 2s. The sheet is an 8 by 4. I'm gonna have 4 foot on the short ends. So I want to make sure, double check that it is 4 foot. Sometimes you get like a 4 foot and a half an inch, but it's 4 foot. So mark my first piece, cut it to 4. And what I typically like to do after I cut is, I kept a finger. That's great. Double check 4 foot, and I scribe cut usually, so they're both exactly the same. Take a pencil, trace along the edge where it's supposed to be on both sides, and then I'll end up measuring from mark to mark, and that's what I'm going to cut on the long studs. So kind of prefer, it's just kind of like the way I'd want to do it. So basically it will be under like 7 foot and 10 inches, something like that. So make sure both pieces are cut, literally just a tip off each end. You know, basically I'm going to circumcise it. Always, kind of double check measurements. You only get one chance at lost stuff, especially when you're on a budget. Circumcise my board. Take the other one, trace cut it with the same one, save me some time. It's going to be exactly the same. Trace cut it. And yeah, and of course they're all cheering me on. I have a little league field across the street from me, and it's baseball season, so nothing really too special, just measure, cut, perimeter. And I still have a finger. Fantastic. Lay them all out. Make sure it looks good. Put the one in place. Yeah. Well, we got at least the outer perimeter of the framing on where it's supposed to be, which is obvious. What we need to figure out now is how to actually put what is supposed to be a hanging LED light and have it actually mounted into this thing. So what we're going to actually do is we're going to frame around this so we have something to attach going right through the middle, and then we'll just put some other studs in it for a little more support. But first we're going to have to actually kind of lay this in place so we can see it where it's going to be. We're going to attach it. And what I have here is from our good friend Harbor Freight. This is the Braun, sorry, they're not even, I'm not getting endorsed, but I'm going to say it anyways. It's one of their Braun 4-foot LED shop lamps. These things are pretty cheap. They're usually around just a hair under 20 bucks each. I see these things on sale all the time for them, whether if you're Inside Track Club member or even just every now and then, just check every weekend on their website for deals on these things. Usually you find these things on sale a lot. I end up buying these things so I am an Inside Track Club member for like $15 each. And I only need 3 of them for it, so that's pretty good. And it's 5,000 lumens. When you look at it by yourself in an open area, it doesn't seem like much, but when you're adding 1, 2, 3 in an 8 by 8 by 8 spot, it's going to be plenty of light. So now let's go figure this part out. Well, basically got to figure out where the hell the light's going to go in. So what I'm pretty much doing here is find a dead center. I'm just going to end up marking it, you know, lengthwise, crosswise, divide measurement in half. So, you know, 4 foot one end, 2 foot the other, center mark.
Yes, I'm using the light as a straight edge, just so I don't have to get up and go grab mine.
Goddamn lazy mug. So off that now, it's like I'm gonna make a mark right on the light itself. This my center. Put center to center. Gotta do the same thing with the width. Length and width divide in half on both pieces. It's that fucking simple. But if you don't know how to do math, basic math, or how to read a measuring tape, then in this case put the goddamn thing everywhere you want it. But yeah,
trace the light.
That's right. Just going to trace the exact thing once I knew where exactly was going to go. Just do that. Then measure off that mark, off those marks. Feel good about yourself with that pencil. Yeah, 2.5 inches. Feel great.
Right, mark here where the light's going to go. So all I got to do is just use this imaginary line, and there we go.
You got 2.5 inches. You should give that tape some Viagra. Be like 6 inches after that. Ah, still have a finger. Holy shit. There we go. Ah, still intact. Lay it all out. Lay it out, make sure it's within the marks. We'll measure the gap. Do it on both ends, just to make sure. I should want it to grow a little bit. Well, in this case, more like the end to end, instead of within the gap, that way you have a bigger piece. Get them all up. Get it up, make sure it fits. It looks good. Sweet. So first, if you notice, I scribed on around the light itself, and now I'm actually scribing on the outside of the boards. Just as reference.
It's like basically drawing a map on your piece as you go. You can double check if you're centered, because if your measurement should be the same off from mark to mark. And of course, for me looking at it like that, I'm confused, so I may be off a little bit. Probably am. But I'm going to go for it, obviously. Pre-drill holes, because that piece so small, you put a screw right through it. Snap-a-doodle-doo the cooler. It's always good to pre-drill. Press it away through it. Put a screw in to kind of hold it in place. Not all the way, obviously. Do the same for the other. Yeah, they're proud of my work, little bastards. Do some more for that end. Drill the long end. The way I figured that out, you drill all the way through the little piece and then let part of the tip go through the next part, and then just do it separately. Sink a screw in, just enough to grab. Grab it. Now I can do the top without actually laying down. Just gotta put it end to end, hold it in place, and pre-drill. Pre-drill. Lovely. Screw that puppy in. Screw it. Screw it. Oh, you son of a... What's wrong with you? There you go. Now you're cooking with petrol. Oh yeah. You got it yet? Got it? Oh no, you gotta get one little extra kick in there. Hey, how about another one for fun? There you go. Oh. But make sure your boards are straight. Sometimes they twist when you're putting one screw on each end. And make everything squared up.
Alright, so what I'm going to do is literally just make 2 more of these, make 3 sets, and we'll just start assembling the walls. Probably just do that off camera, because I'm sure you don't want to see the most boring thing on these DIY things is the stupid time lapse. And hey! Hey! Alright, what you see here is kind of like the rough framing of what each one of these panels is going to be. Depending on what each one of their function is, it will determine if I need to put more wood in it, but I kind of really doubt it. Kind of also want to make it light as possible. This one will probably end up being for the roof part or the top. I have to add another 4x4 on each end, and I'll explain that later when it comes to assembly. But I want to go ahead and start assembling this one. I've also cut each one's just carbon copies of this one and just put them together, and I'll be back. I got the first one already built. I'm going to make 2 more of what will be virtually almost identical of this one. This one I am designating to be the top piece. The only thing I need to do with this one is I still need to attach another 4x4 on each end. And the reason why I'm going to do that is so that way this will rest on top of the side pieces and it will still be 8 foot wide. If I did it without it and let the walls rest on the edge, then it obviously shortens the gap and I'll lose 3 inches, and I really want this to be 8 foot wide. The other thing I got to do with the other 2, the only little difference is I have to make a notch in the corner, because as we look down here, there is a ledge over here and I want it to be flush with the wall. So I have to cut a notch on each one so that way it'll fit just right and square as possible. Even though this wall is a little bit wavy, but that's no big deal because I end up sealing it with tape anyways. Well, the frame structure is there. The basic parts are built. The notching as described down here, down there. They're just free floating. They're not really attached. Next thing to do is to attach the hardboard, make the cutouts for the lights, and go from there. Now we're just going to go ahead and slap on the panels on all of them. I'll let you go ahead and watch me as we do it. And here we go. So here's what usually annoys me about videos like this is this. Oh God, time lapse. Oh, don't you hate time lapse stuff? It's like watching a circus. Well, yeah, how else you gonna actually make this part interesting? It's just screwing. Doing a lot of screwing. Just getting down and doing it. What am I doing? Well, of course, I'm making lines to know where to put in some damn screws. Well, just getting my measurements so I could just trace where my studs are from the back to the front, so I know where to drive in more screws. Don't need to pre-drill this shit, only because, well, I'm using really small screws. The hardboard's only 1/8 of an inch thick, so I'm not worried about splitting it. The screws are really tiny. It's just a lot of screws. And there's the second one. Gotta find a good piece, lay it all out, square it up, screw some more. Screw, screw, screw. Oh God. I mean, just look at this. This is boring. So boring. I gotta do this 3 times. Like a sun in the face too. Trying to see. Just leaving for a while. Don't want to come back. Alright, back to the screwing. Getting screwed. Gotta measure this. Sure again, same bullshit. There we go. Oh look, screws, screws, screws. I'm literally putting them about a foot apart everywhere. Yeah, lovely. So that one aside. Oh, one more. There we go. That board. There we go. Lay it out, square it up. Oh, what the f am I going to do now? Oh, yeah. Here we go again. Grab the old screw gun. Go around the perimeter. Lock it in place. Not really interested. Just speeds up what is the boring process of these types of videos. Should have just said, hey look, introducing the boy with no shoes. Oh, that doesn't show up again. You realize I've got screws everywhere and you're running around with shoes? No shoes, little hobbit feet, boy. Oh, look, even the dog's got no shoes. I was wondering to come by and lift their leg up on it while I'm doing it.